Okay, good day, everybody. So basically, we're looking at Bitcoin price prediction, right, and analysis using Python, SQL, Power BI, Excel, you name it, any tool you feel comfortable using, right? So we are going to be getting this information from Yahoo Finance. I'm sure most of you that deal on crypto, you know Yahoo Finance. They have this data or historical data of cryptocurrency and forex. I think so. Forex, yeah, forex should be one of them. However, what we'll be looking at today is cryptocurrency price prediction, and we'll be focusing just on Bitcoin. We could focus on many cryptocurrencies like Ethereum. We could focus on BNB, Binance coin, right? I think that's what it means. Yeah, Binance coin. We can also focus on Polkadot. We can focus on Dogecoin. So many of them. However, today I'm going to be giving you guys a run through of how we've managed to bring this data from Yahoo Finance. And for us to do this, there are some important libraries that we have to take note of. The first one is Pandas, right? Pandas is a very, very important library when dealing with Python, especially data frames. When we're dealing with Python and data frames with Python, we have to import Pandas, right? So we have so for every code, I've managed to put a description of that code, a comment of that code, so that you guys can actually understand it when I share my notebook with you. So this notebook is going to be available on the YouTube page. The link to this notebook is going to be available on the YouTube page. You can't edit the notebook, but you can download the notebook for your own personal use. Okay, so Pandas is a library in Python that's used for manipulation, data manipulation and analysis. So if you want to change, just like in SQL, we have data manipulation language such as update. We have update, we have um, something like delete. These are manipulation languages. So in Python, we have that also. Okay, there are manipulation languages in Python, and Pandas is a library used for that. All right, we can use it for manipulation and analysis when we are dealing with data frames. Okay, so it's used for large data sets. So there are some times you might be having a data set that has up to 500,000 rows. Okay, so Pandas helps you manipulate this data set by calling the rows or calling the columns which you want to manipulate, right? So there are a wide range of functions for cleaning, transformation, and analysis, which we might not be going deep into it in this particular project walkthrough, but definitely you are going to be having an understanding. So if I decide to use Python to explain or to do an analysis of this Bitcoin, of this cryptocurrency project, I'm going to be giving commented explanation on every code written so that those of you that wish to use Python won't be found lagging behind. Okay, so the next thing we use is we imported Yahoo Finance. Okay, so Y Finance, as we call it, okay, it's Yahoo Finance, but Y Finance, as we call it. Y Finance is a Python library, okay, is an API we use to download data from Yahoo Finance. So Twitter has their own API, Instagram has their own API. Many of these stuff they have their own API, right, which you can use to download data from. But I think Twitter API is paid. I don't think TikTok has API for African countries. I'm not sure about that per se, but Instagram has its own API, which you can use to do Instagram sentiment analysis and all that, right? Twitter has its own API. I think Twitter API now is paid. You have to pay to actually get that API. So this Yahoo Finance, Y Finance API is used to access financial data such as stock prices, dividends, and splits. You name it. Then we have DateTime. So the DateTime library is basically used to when you're working with dates and times, right, you have to import dates time. If you're going to manipulate your way through the date of a particular data set, or the time, you need date time library. If not, you won't be able to do such. Okay, so it's self-explanatory. So if you're looking to manipulate your way through, or you're working with data, you're working with dates and time, you have to use the date time library. Okay, so we also have date and time delta. So I'm just going to read this description because I think it's self-explanatory here. The date class is part of the date time module. So which means this date is part of this date time module and represents a date, which is year, month, and day. So the difference, date time can be year, month, day, hours, minutes, and seconds. But when you're talking about date, date is year, month, and day. There are different, there's a difference between date time and date. Okay, date is focusing only on the year, the month, and the day in Python, right? Time delta class is also part of the, okay, I'm just going to remove this, I think. I was trying to be all cool. The time delta class is also part of the date time module and represents a duration, okay, of difference between two dates or times. So if you're trying to look at, trying to find the difference between a particular date and another date, you will have to use time delta to actually find the differences. Okay, so just like it says here, it can be used for operations like adding or subtracting days, which we're going to be using. I'm going to be explaining that. Subtracting days, hours, or seconds from a date time object. Then the next thing we did here is to assign a variable called today. Okay, with the name of this variable is today, and here is date.today, right? Is a built-in method, okay, in Python. So what this line of code does is that it creates a new variable called today and assigns it the value returned by date.today function. Okay, so the today method is, that returns a current local date. So if you're focusing on the current date, so like for example, Yahoo Finance has a lot of data from 2019 to I think today. So now we are telling Yahoo Finance to start to focus on the data as at today. So maybe you might be looking at this data in 2024. If you use this code, Yahoo Finance is going to focus on the data from that day in 2024, right? So we use this date.today. We're telling Yahoo Finance that, okay, give us the data as at today. And we want to find from today down to so day, right? So get the difference between today and so day. That is when we're going to, sorry about the so day, right? I'm Nigerian. So from today to whatever day it is, we're going to now be using time delta to get the difference, to do the difference between those two dates. Okay, so the next one is today dot strif time. All right, what this does is that we are assigning a variable d1. We want to name that date 1, okay, because we're going to be getting two dates, the end date and the start date. Okay, the end date simply means today. That is what today is. And then the start, so if you notice, in the D1, we're using today.strip time. That means we're telling this Python code, get us the date for today. Then in the start date, if you look at it very well, there's no today.strip time. It's just so we're trying to say, if you look at it, to date.today minus time delta 730 days. So what we're telling Python here is, so you can just, I don't want to read the description. You can go ahead to read this whole description, right? So what you're telling Python is from today, calculate from today to 730 days before today. We can increase it to 900 days if we want to. Okay, but we're telling Python today minus 730 days. Whatever date you get is going to be the start date. Okay, that's what we're telling Python here. From today, so today being the 16th of April, 16th of April minus 730 days. Whatever date you're getting is going to be the start date. But today is the end date. I don't know if that's clear. Today is the end date, but today minus 730 days, which is going 730 days back, whatever date it lands on is going to be the start date. That's what we're doing here. So D1 is the end date, D2 is the start date. So the start date might fall in let's say 730 days basically is 2 years, right? 365, 365, that's 730 days, right? So it should be 2 years, right? I think so. Yeah, exactly 2 years. So it's going to be 2 years. So 2 years from today is going to be the start date. Okay, that is what we're trying to do there. So this is where we assign the variable start date is D2. All right, so our data will now be, if we want, we can choose to change this to Ethereum, that is ETH, okay, but we want to use BTC. So we're telling Yahoo Finance, okay, download the data for BTC to USD, and the start is going to be the start date, right? That's which is 730 days from today, 2 years from today, and the end date is going to be today. All right, so we want to assign progress to false. Okay, so that means it disables the download progress bar when it stops at that date. All right, so here we are assigning we are telling Python in this particular code, we're telling Python that okay, the we want the index column to be, let me just see that, yeah, we want the index column to be the date column, right? In the original data, which is the original data, this first one we did here, the index, the date was the index, right? The date was the index column, which means that we won't even be able to access the date if we should use the date at the index column. Let me show you what the index column is. So this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the index of this particular data frame, right? So originally, instead of us to be having 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, this date that we are seeing here was not existing before. So this 2021 0417 was the index column, which means that we cannot even use it to do any analysis. It's just like a numbering system for our data frame. But we want this 2021 0417 to be a column on its own so that we can actually do our analysis based on that date column. So what we did here is that we're not telling Python that take that index column, which is the date, and assign it to a new column called date so that we can actually access it. So that is what we did in this particular, so that we can use it for analysis and visualization. So that is what this code does. Then our new, so we're not telling Python that, all right, after you've done that, I want you to now reorder the columns of our data set, because when what we are doing like this, if we should leave it this way, the date column is going to come in as last place, and we don't want that. We want the date column to be the first column. So we're now telling Python, reorder the columns in this order, reorder them this way, which means where the date comes first, the open value comes second, the high comes third, low comes fourth, close comes fifth. This other one, adjacent close, I think that what it means, right? Comes as the sixth um, column, then the volume comes as the last column. So that is what we've been able to do here. Then um, what we are now telling Python here in this part, in this last code, is that to drop the old index, because what we're going to be having here is we're going to be having the dates, this date as an index, and also having another date as the column. So we want to drop the old dates value as we want to drop it as an index, then automatically Python is going to create an index for us using 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that's the aim of this particular code. Then this one is just to print this information you are seeing here. So that is basically what we use this code for. Then this code we have here is just to get the shape. The shape means we want to know the number of rows and want to know the number of columns we have in our data set. Automatically, we are going to have 730 rows because we told Python to go back 730 days before, which means the data we are having is 730 rows for 730 days. Then this 7 here is the number of columns we have in our data set. Right, so the next time we're going to be doing this, we're going to be going straight into looking at the like describing our values. We want to see how do we have outliers in our data? Do we have um, how skewed is our data? So we're going to be doing some basic analysis using histograms and so on and so forth. But for this video, all I just want you guys to understand is what we were doing using the Python codes for this. I know Python is kind of strange for most of you that are focused on SQL, Excel, and Power BI. As a data analyst, you basically need SQL, Excel, and Power BI. So Python is just to, I'm just using this video to explain everything we're trying to do with these codes. These are baby codes, so I'm sure you'll be able to understand them. When we go into analysis proper, using Power BI, so we're going to be using Power BI to do analysis for the sake of everybody watching this video. Then we can also do some forecasting to actually know what the price of Bitcoin is going to be like, right, in months to come or years to come. Okay, so thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.